From a $100 million vitamin water payday to a shocking bankruptcy filing that had the world calling him broke, 50 Cent's money story looks like a collapse on paper. But behind the headlines, the G-Unit mogul was quietly staging one of hip-hop's wildest financial comebacks, building a $150 million TV empire. Now, his massive real estate moves in Shreveport are raising new questions about just how much cash he really has. Is he actually down to his last cent, or is there a billion-dollar play being hidden in plain sight? The story of 50 Cent's money starts in a place where money was the last thing guaranteed. Born Curtis James Jackson III in 1975, 50 Cent grew up in South Jamaica, Queens. His childhood was marked by instability and loss. After his mother died at a young age, he was raised by his grandparents and exposed early to the harsh realities of street life. By the age of 12, he started selling drugs after school, later landing several arrests that ultimately pushed him to pursue music as a legitimate escape route. The name 50 Cent itself carries weight. A Brooklyn robber was 50 Cent's idol, and the name 50 Cent is inspired by that robber. The name represented change, taking what you've got and turning it into something else. That philosophy would define everything he touched from that point forward. The road to stardom was not clean, and it was not safe. In 2000, he survived being shot multiple times, an event that nearly ended his life. 9 bullets. He took 9 bullets outside his grandmother's home in Queens. One went through his jaw. He lost a tooth. His speech changed. And yet, instead of ending him, it became a turning point. His raw storytelling and authenticity caught the attention of major industry figures, leading to a breakthrough that changed his future. That breakthrough had a name, Eminem, and behind Eminem stood Dr. Dre. 50 Cent burst onto the mainstream scene with his 2003 debut album, Get Rich or Die Tryin', executive produced by Dr. Dre and backed by Eminem. The album sold over 12 million copies worldwide and established him as one of the dominant rap voices of the early 2000s. The album wasn't just a commercial hit. His debut, Get Rich or Die Tryin', remains the highest-selling debut for a rap album ever. Then came the follow-ups. Follow-up albums including The Massacre and Curtis performed strongly commercially, helping him generate tens of millions in record sales, touring, and merchandise revenue. At the same time, he was building a crew, a brand, and a label. Early in his career in 2003, 50 Cent teamed up with Mark Echo Enterprises, whose Echo Unlimited store offered the G-Unit clothing line. According to Business Insider, Echo made $75 million in 2006 on the sales of G-Unit. 50 earned $6 million from each item of clothes with the G-Unit brand at that time, thanks to an 8% royalty share. By the mid-2000s, Forbes had taken notice. According to Forbes' annual hip-hop's wealthiest artists list, 50 was said to be worth $155 million after tax, and he'd been consistent every year since 2007. At the height of his visibility, a rap mogul like 50 Cent was worth $260 million at the height of his popularity. But the real money, the kind that separates entertainers from moguls, wasn't coming from album sales. While his music brought in millions, most of 50 Cent's net worth today comes from smart investments and business deals. And the smartest deal of them all, a bottle of flavored water. During his career, 50 Cent has earned at least $300 million from music, touring, television, and business ventures. But there's a particular chapter that changed everything. There's a moment in nearly every mogul's story where one decision splits the timeline between rich and wealthy. For 50 Cent, that moment arrived in 2004, when he looked at a bottle of enhanced water and saw something nobody else in hip-hop was paying attention to. The vitamin water deal was really one of the first deals of its kind back in the day for a hip-hop artist. In 2004, when most rappers were collecting their coins and moving on, Curtis took equity instead. Not just his face on a bottle, but having actual ownership of a billion-dollar brand. Instead of taking a traditional endorsement fee, 50 Cent accepted an ownership stake in vitamin water. This move showed a business mindset that few artists had at the time. He didn't just lend his name, he got involved. He helped develop his own flavor, Formula 50, and pushed it the same way he pushed records. Relentlessly, personally, everywhere. With the help of his celebrity, 50's fit and healthy image made it simple to advertise the brand. and vitamin water sales increased from $100 million in 2004 to $700 million in 2007. Then, in 2007, the phone rang. Coca-Cola wanted in. When the company was sold to Coca-Cola in 2007 for $4.1 billion, his stake reportedly earned him tens of millions of dollars. The numbers vary depending on who you ask. Estimates put Fifth's cut somewhere between $60 $100 million. During a recent appearance on the Earn Your Leisure podcast, the rapper-turned-businessman recalled how he made $100 million from vitamin water by strategically acquiring employee stock options to boost his equity. 50 Cent himself has spoken about the thinking behind the deal. He once explained on that same podcast, with the vitamin water thing, "I didn't need the money. When companies approach artists to be a part of the marketing, it's just they've reached the financial level where they can commit that marketing and it'll move their company to the next level." He went on to emphasize the importance of thinking long-term in business, highlighting how his investment helped him make a substantial profit. When Glasso, Vitamin Water's parent company, sold to Coca-Cola, had he let his managers talk him out of the vitamin water deal, it's possible that the 50 Cent brand would be restricted to the music world today. Instead, the money earned from that venture let him continue to grow his business ventures. But vitamin water was far from the only business play. The man operated like a small conglomerate. He is the proud owner of Branson Cognac and Le Chemin du Roi, which he distributes through the Sire Spirits brand, named after his youngest son. In addition, he continues to maintain his share in Effin Vodka, a partnership which he solidified in 2014. In July 2017, it was reported but not confirmed that 50 had sold his minority stake in Effin Vodka for $60 million. 50 Cent took to Instagram to confirm that the deal happened, but did not actually confirm the $60 million number. There was the headphones venture, SMS Audio, where he competed in the same space as his friend Dr. Dre's Beats brand. In 2011, he founded SMS Audio, a consumer electronics company selling Street by 50 headphones, pledging to donate a portion of their sales to charity. He even ventured into boxing promotion. In 2012, when he co-founded TMT with Floyd Mayweather and signed boxers like Yuriorkis Gamboa and Andre Dirrell, 50 Cent became a certified boxing promoter. Then there were the books. Known for writing his own song lyrics, 50 Cent has also penned a number of successful books, beginning with his memoir, From Pieces to Weight in 2005, earning $1.9 million in total. The massive success from that book led him to establish his own publishing imprint, in partnership with MTV Pocketbooks in 2007 called G-Unit Books. Among the other books he has authored include The 50th Law, Hustle Harder, Hustle Smarter, and many others, totaling 16 books. The video game space was another income line. Despite negative reviews, the video game generated $125 million in sales, after selling over 2.5 million copies at a cost of $50 each. But here's where the story takes a dramatic and unexpected turn. Because despite all of this, the vitamin water windfall, the album sales, the clothing royalties, the vodka, the headphones, the books, the boxing, the video game, Curtis Jackson found himself standing in a bankruptcy court in Connecticut. In July 2015, the world woke up to a headline that seemed impossible. Rapper and business mogul 50 Cent has filed for bankruptcy. A stunning financial turn considering his estimated net worth had been pegged at $155 million as recently as May. The internet reacted the way you'd expect. Memes flooded Twitter. People joked that 50 Cent's name had become literal. It barely took any time for a deluge of jokes to flood social media, including a self-deprecating one by the man himself, with most of them centered around the fact that 50 Cent has no money left. But the reality was more complicated and far more calculated than the headlines suggested. On July 13, 2015, Jackson filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection in the U.S. Bankruptcy Court for the District of Connecticut with a debt of $32,509,549.91. He listed his estimated assets between $10 million to $50 million, with liabilities in the same range. But here's the critical detail most people missed. The Grammy-winning artist and serial entrepreneur filed under what is called Chapter 11 bankruptcy, which is a strategy commonly used by big businesses that allows them to retain control of their assets. His lawyers made it clear. The filing allows Mr. Jackson to reorganize his financial affairs as he addresses various professional liabilities and takes steps to position the future of his various business interests. In short, 50 Cent was not broke. He was insolvent, which is different. So what pushed him to this point? Two catastrophic legal judgments within months of each other. The first was the headphones disaster. Sleek Audio filed an arbitration case against 50 Cent, alleging he stole their designs for his new headphones and owed Sleek money. Long story short, Sleek won, and eventually a judgment was entered in Sleek's favor, totaling $17,247,426.11 plus post-judgment interest. He had to pay $17 million to headphone manufacturer Sleek Audio due to a failed deal to launch his own headphone line, and the company did not give him back his initial $2 million investment. The second was even more embarrassing and more personal. Another reason for the personal Chapter 11 bankruptcy filing was a sex tape 50 Cent allegedly released of Lastonia Leviston. Without her consent, 50 Cent allegedly created a copy of the sex tape and then narrated it, saying negative things about Ms. Leviston and mocking Rick Ross. Ms. Leviston sued 50 Cent in state court, and eventually she won a judgment for about $5 million. The judgment ultimately climbed even higher. A jury ordered Jackson to pay $7 million to a woman who sued him for posting a private, intimate video online without her permission. Jackson's bankruptcy lawyers elucidated through the court documents that legal fees and judgments exceeding $20 million over the past year were the primary cause of the filing. The filings revealed other details about 50 Cent's financial life at the time. His filings listed 32 entities in which he had a stake. Before filing for bankruptcy, Mr. Jackson had taken in $3.3 million in royalties, advances, and merchandise sales. For his business income as an entertainer so far that year, there was the Connecticut mansion, formerly owned by Mike Tyson, that had become an anchor around his neck. 50 Cent bought the house for $4.1 million and then spent an additional $6 million on various upgrades, including adding a private movie theater, infinity pool, and a helicopter pad. During his 2015 bankruptcy proceedings, we learned from 50's lawyers that the house typically costs around $72,000 per month to maintain and finance, and his utilities alone cost $18,000. He had been trying to sell that house for nearly a decade. 50 first attempted to offload the home in 2007 for $5 million without success. He has been trying to sell the house ever since, still without success, and lowered the price all the way down to $4.995 million in September 2018, again without any takers. In April 2019, he finally sold the home for $2.9 million, an 84% discount to his original offer price and a $1.2 million loss compared just to his purchase price. But in the world of corporate finance, Chapter 11 is a tool, not a tombstone. In reality, Chapter 11 allowed him to reorganize debt while continuing to work and earn. Specifically, 50 Cent paid approximately $22 million on account of $32.5 million in debt, and the balance was discharged. He paid off the plan early with $8.7 million of his own money and $13.65 million from a recent settlement. In fact, 50 Cent paid all of the payments due under the plan early, after settling a malpractice claim against former counsel for about $14.5 million. 50 Cent's discharge was entered on February 2, 2017. The bankruptcy wasn't the end. It was the intermission. While the world was busy writing 50 Cent's financial obituary, he was already making his next move, and it was in a medium nobody expected. In 2014, 50 executive produced Power with Courtney Kemp for Starz, and that show became a cultural phenomenon and still stands as Starz's highest-rated series. The timing is crucial here. Power debuted 1 year before the bankruptcy filing, so even as the legal walls were closing in, 50 Cent was building the very engine that would pull him out. The show told the story of James "Ghost" St. Patrick, a drug dealer trying to go legitimate while being pulled back into the streets. The parallels to 50 Cent's own life were unmistakable. Audiences connected with it immediately, and the network saw the numbers. In October 2018, 50 Cent signed a 4-year overall deal with Starz. The deal, which includes a 3-series commitment, could ultimately be worth $150 million if all milestones are achieved. Let that number settle in. A man who had just exited bankruptcy the year before signed a deal potentially worth $150 million. By 2018, he'd negotiated what was reportedly a 4-year, $150 million overall deal with the network. A rapper from South Jamaica, Queens, became one of the highest-paid producers in premium cable. The Power universe expanded rapidly and aggressively. Power Book 2, Ghost, Power Book 3, Raising Kanan, Power Book 5, Force all came from that one hit show and are now an entire franchise. Then there's Black Mafia Family for Life and a whole slate of other projects through G-Unit Film and TV. And then came the documentary that nobody could look away from. Sean Combs, The Reckoning is an American TV documentary miniseries about the sexual misconduct allegations against rapper Sean Diddy Combs. Directed by Alexandria Stapleton and produced by Curtis 50 Cent Jackson, the series was released on Netflix on December 2, 2025. 50 Cent and his film company, G-Unit Film and Television, had been cooking up the documentary for the past 2 years. A rep confirmed that the program was in production in 2023 before Fifth sold the idea to Netflix. The documentary landed like a bomb. In the 6 days after its release, the series was viewed 21.8 million times, making it the second most viewed Netflix title during the week of December 1 to 8, 2025, after Volume 1 of the 5th season of Stranger Things. He produced Sean Combs, The Reckoning for Netflix, the bombshell Diddy documentary that reached #1 on the platform. The financial impact was immediate and ongoing. How much 50 Cent has earned for the Combs documentary is still undocumented, but claims are that he has made not less than $50 million. Off the back of that success, even more doors opened. On April 1, 2026, 50 Cent posted on social media that Hulu had paid $75 million for a new documentary about his life, beating out Starz, Netflix, and Apple in a bidding war. The internet assumed it was an April Fool's joke, but it was not. Hulu officially greenlighted a 3-part documentary series on the life of Curtis Jackson. Meanwhile, the touring operation was also generating historic numbers. According to Billboard Box Score, 50's The Final Lap Tour has eclipsed $100 million in earnings. The In Da Club rapper's 2023 global trek grossed $103.6 million, with 1.05 million tickets sold across 83 shows. In North America, Europe, Oceania, and Asia, 50 Cent is now the second rapper to ever gross that much on tour, with the first being Drake. And here's the financial detail that separates this from other tours. His self-financed Final Lap Tour dramatically increased net profit margins. Since he avoided Live Nation, AEG splits, he financed the tour himself and kept the lion's share. Throughout his career, 50 grossed $150.3 million and sold 2.5 million tickets, which placed him at number 8 on Billboard's list of highest-grossing rap acts. The comeback wasn't a slow crawl. It was an aggressive multi-front blitz. So we arrive at the question that brought us here. How rich is 50 Cent actually? The answer depends on what you count and who's counting. 50 Cent is an American rapper, producer, actor, and entrepreneur who has a net worth of $100 million. That's the figure from Celebrity Net Worth, updated as of March 2026. But other sources see it differently. The Hate It or Love It artist is estimated to be worth around $150 million. Meanwhile, some estimates put his net worth at approximately $45 to $60 million in 2026. Some sources place the figure lower, while others suggest it could be higher due to private investments and long-term media contracts. The disagreement itself tells you something. This is not a man with a publicly traded portfolio you can track on a ticker. His wealth is scattered across dozens of entities, production companies, spirits brands, real estate, royalties, licensing deals. His bankruptcy filings alone listed 32 entities in which he had a stake. The real number is probably known only to his accountants. Net worth is not the same as total earnings over his career. 50 Cent has generated far more than his current estimated wealth. Taxes, legal settlements, business expenses, and lifestyle choices all play a role in shaping the final number. What we can trace is the infrastructure. His current fortune is anchored by the profits from his self-financed Final Lap tour, his expansive Power TV universe, and a strategic real estate play in Shreveport, Louisiana, where he has become the city's largest private property owner. That Shreveport play deserves attention. 50 Cent officially opened G-Unit Studios in Shreveport, Louisiana. The facility spans 985,000 square feet, with non-scripted content set to start in July and scripted to begin in January 2025. 50 Cent now owns the second-largest Black-owned production studio in the world, following just behind Tyler Perry, and the cost of entry was extraordinary in its modesty. The entrepreneurial lyricist obtained a lease for the city-owned studio for an annual cost of $2,400. The city council voted unanimously to approve allowing the G-Unit boss to lease what was once known as Millennium Studio, $2,400 a year. For a nearly 1 million square foot production facility, that's the kind of deal that makes accountants weep with joy. And he's not done expanding. Jackson is launching a partnership with Planet Hollywood Times Square called PH Live, designed to become a new hub for entertainment. The next generation venue is being developed through a $100 million partnership aimed at bringing new life to the once iconic 90 Says restaurant brand. The partnership builds on his successful residency at Planet Hollywood Las Vegas and the recent debut of his 50 Cent Candy Shop bar at the resort. He took equity when other artists took endorsement checks. He built a TV empire when his peers were still focused solely on touring and album cycles. The story of 50 Cent's wealth is not a story about a number. It's a story about a pattern of seeing what others don't, moving before the crowd catches on, taking ownership instead of payment, and treating every setback, including bankruptcy, as a reset rather than a conclusion. After declaring personal bankruptcy in 2015, in the aftermath of 2 embarrassing and costly lawsuits, 50 Cent has staged one of the most impressive financial comebacks in entertainment history. The man who named himself after Pocket Change has spent 2 decades proving that the name was always ironic. People who work for themselves work a lot harder. For me, I don't care what hour it is. If I can't sleep, I work. I wake up at between 5:30 and 6 a.m. because I know I have a project or have to get something done. Whether the number is $60 million, $100 million, or $150 million, one thing is certain: 50 Cent isn't finished counting.